Every town in the world has its scary stories. This is the Local Legends Podcast.
Before we get started on the video here, I would like to let you guys know that I have made a few other videos about Brandon Lawson. And if you have not seen those, it'll probably make a lot more sense if you go back to my YouTube channel and check those out. But if you have been following the Brandon Lawson case as closely as a lot of people have, this will be a very interesting podcast episode for you. So I highly recommend that if you have not seen anything on Brandon Lawson, go back and watch my other videos. But if you have, here we go. Once again, I want to say thank you to Jason. He took time out of his day and just went over a bunch of stuff here, and it really means a lot. So with that, let's get started. All right, my name is Berton Moran. This is the Local Legends Podcast. Today with me, I have Jason Watts. And Jason, you were part of the team that found what, not confirmed, but possibly is the remains of Brandon Lawson.
Correct.
Yes. Now, how, like, you have been a very big part of finding or keeping this case alive, I'd like to say. Wasn't it? It was a cold case for a while, was it not?
Yes.
Then,
there was, it was always an open investigation, but I wouldn't necessarily call it an active investigation.
yeah.
It was a cold case. I mean, law enforcement was basically in the what we call the reactive stage, and that's if they get information, they'll work with it, but they weren't actively seeking people out to talk to or continuing searches or anything like that.
Understood. Like, how often did you go out there looking in the area of where he went missing?
Man, it would just kind of depend on what we had going on. I've gone down there anywhere from once a year to 6 or 7 times a year. It just kind of depends.
I like we talked about just a minute ago, I did make my trip down there. It's very desolate in a lot of area.
Yeah.
I know at one point you were in another YouTube channel talking with Graz, I believe it was Graz.
Yeah, I've talked to Graz a couple of times.
And you had mentioned whenever I went down there, I was with like in a mile of there, and I don't need specifics on any of that. What's really upsetting about that whole situation, one of the things is he was really close to Bront, right?
Yeah, the truck was found 4 miles south of Bront, and then, it's already been put out there, so I can go ahead and talk about it. We found those items a mile away from where the truck was located. So, yeah, he was reasonably close to the town of Bront.
Absolutely. I have had so many people comment on videos of me traveling down there, and a lot of people, quite frankly, kind of upset me with their comments of things that they had no idea of what they're talking about. Some people have confused this case with Brandon Swanson from
Right.
Minnesota. But one thing that over and over people have said that I do not agree with at all, and since I got you here, I kind of want to clear that up. And I mean no ill will, because I agree that this is a ridiculous thing that people have been saying that Odessa had anything to do with this.
Yeah, that used to really, and it still does, bother me.
Oh, 100%.
I know there are some cases where, that possibility is there. And a lot of times, we've all watched true crime content on TV and stuff like that. There are a number of cases where the significant other or someone close to the victim is involved. I knew the first moment I really kind of talked to Odessa that, there was no way. I never really had any suspicion on her anyway.
No.
But I have seen evidence, real evidence, that basically backed up what I already knew. And
right.
She did not leave the house that night.
No,
And I can say that with 100% certainty.
exactly. And from my understanding, they did have an argument that night, but
Yes.
that's neither here nor there. That's really none of other people's business to begin with. And there's no way. In my own opinion, I never once even thought that she would have anything to do with this.
Yeah, no, she's just, Odessa is a very sweet person. You know, I've gotten to know her and her family really well over these past few years. And it just goes to show you that in this line of work, and, the true crime community can be really good. It really can.
Yes.
But, you have that other 5% off the 95% that's bad. A wise person once told me the road between legitimate suspicion and rampant paranoia is very short. And sometimes you see that in the true crime community.
Absolutely.
The last thing you want to ever do is accuse somebody without any kind of real or reasonable evidence. And a lot of what you see online is just people pulling that out of their hat because they want an easy explanation.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to point out, she, like yourself, she's still out there. She still wants answers. She's going to a crime con and stuff like that with you guys. Talking about the case. She's trying to spread the word, get information. And I don't know, for people to act that way is just, I don't know. It's one of the things that kind of sticks, gets to me.
And you see that in other cases, man. People will accuse the family, and it's horrible.
People get an idea in their head and they'll think, oh, I'm 100% right.
Well, that's what I saw last night on the latest episode of My Favorite Murder or Snapped or whatever. And there's just
so many other content creators, and I'm not calling anybody out, but I did listen to recently a podcast that got so much information wrong, and they were spreading it. Now, I've been telling everybody about this case, and then they tell me in their podcast everything that was not true. They said that San Angelo is 30 miles from Dallas. And I'm like, no, it is not.
Oh.
I made
You've been out there. No, it's not.
Nowhere near Dallas, to be honest with you. You got a maybe 5-hour drive from Dallas. And then people in the same podcast went on to say that, and I'm not, if you've seen my channel, you know I do ghost hunting and stuff as well. But this whole case has nothing to do with the paranormal, in my opinion.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to, but people were bringing that up, that the last phone call he made, he said, oh, I'm right next to you. And I'm like, none of that is true. That is complete crap. That this guy said that the last phone call, he said that, oh, why can't you see me? I'm right next to you. I'm like right here. And I don't understand that. Which I do know in the last phone call, he talked to Kyle while the state trooper was there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And he did say that I can see you, but he didn't say that I'm right next to you or any of the other stuff.
Yeah, no.
And, so you ever talk with his brother, Kyle?
I have a little bit. I know a lot of people, I think when I did one of my first or second interviews with the podcast, I mentioned that I hadn't talked to Kyle a whole lot. And everybody kind of was like, well, you're looking into this. You haven't talked to Kyle. Well, you got to understand something. This whole thing has been really hard on Kyle, really hard on him. And you could see why. And I think he had a lot of, struggles with it. And Absolutely. The last thing I wanted to do was make that worse for him. And so, I didn't push the issue.
Yeah.
I didn't go out of my way to bug him about it or anything like that. Now, when I would see him, he would talk to me about it, when we were at the vigils and, just being around the family. But I really do feel bad for Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah. I myself understand. I lost a sister years ago, and it's a very touchy subject. So I, again, understand completely. I remember whenever I went out there, I went to the site of the visual. I can't say that word very well.
But we went to the site of where the truck was found.
Yes. Yep. And where they have his cross and his helmets there.
Yeah.
I went to check that out. And it shows that,
yes, he did have a past with drugs, but he was not a bad person.
Absolutely not.
And you could see that he was loved very much by a lot of
Absolutely.
people.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the, yeah,
You can't, it's not fair to judge people based on their past, man. We all have struggles,
Yeah.
myself included. Uh, you know, I say this a lot, these people that are in these cases that may have these struggles, I can promise you they don't wake up that morning and go, oh, I'm going to struggle with my problem and then go missing and my family never see me again.
right. No,
It doesn't,
no.
it doesn't change the fact that they're a human being and they deserve just as much effort as anybody else that goes missing or is the victim of a crime.
Yeah. I know we've all heard the 911 call, and I myself have listened to it at least
A
a
dozen
100
times or
times, a
more.
dozen
Yeah.
times or more. You do hear what sounds like possible gunshots. And again, if this is something that you can't talk about,
I have seen that speculated upon.
yep,
I don't share that sentiment. Now, I reserve the right to be wrong,
absolutely.
but just based on evidence that I've seen, I don't understand how somebody could have been out there firing off a gun and not been noticed.
Yeah.
Now I know you're talking about a rural area in the middle of the night,
Yes.
but we do know that there are witnesses that passed by the scene, most notably a truck driver.
The trucker that stopped over at the Stripes gas station.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, while I won't divulge the details of that call at this time, I will say that it's evidence like that that leads me to believe that those are not gunshots.
Yeah. Another question, or one of the bigger comments that everybody says, and it's been explained a million times. I understand it. Why weren't they allowed to search that land? Well, that land.
Go ahead.
Like, I'll let you explain why were you guys not allowed on that property right away? I know why. I think it'd be better for you to explain it, because people just,
Well, I tell you what do you think? I mean,
from my understanding, the people who
yes,
own that property, the people that own that property do not live at that property.
that is correct.
Now, they, from my understanding, live nowhere near the area, but they do own the property. Just
Correct.
like any other land, you have to have permission to go searching on this situation. Now, if Brandon was, in a situation where he ran onto that property and that's where he ended up, I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's one thing. I'm not saying he was chased, but if you're being chased, or if you're in a situation where you have to go in there, it's a fight or flight situation. I understand that. But like, as far as searching goes, you can't just waltz onto anybody's property. I live in South Dakota. If I do that, I'll probably end up shot.
Yeah.
With good meaning.
Generally speaking, yes, you need landowner permission to step onto a property. These landowners were, from what I understand, they didn't even know about the case.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wasn't there, 9 years ago when all this went down. But if they didn't know about the case, that tells me they were never contacted.
Exactly.
So I know that this particular piece of property was flown over. This is just my opinion. It's not the opinion of the Lawsons or anybody else. This is just my opinion. I think what happened is they flew over that property. They did not see anything, and they ruled it out based solely on the flyover alone. Their thought process was probably that if he was, whatever, in whatever state of mind, whatever, he should be reasonably close to the truck.
Right.
And he wasn't. So why they never expanded the search to include outside of that area, I don't know. It may have been a resource issue. I can't answer that. Only they can, that they being law enforcement. I know one comment I've seen is, well, why didn't the family try to do it? Well,
Right.
you have to remember, the family was told, hey, we flew over this. We didn't see anything. So, despite the tensions between law enforcement and the family, they took law enforcement at their word.
Now, obviously, we talked. Okay, when I was down there, I agree with you on that, because that terrain itself, you got trees, you got hills, all kinds of different formations, brush, I'd call it, big,
That's putting
like,
it mildly.
oh yeah, like even in the video that I recorded of the area where the truck stopped, there was cactus. There's all kinds of
What you saw, that was
yeah.
just light stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because I remember even just driving down that road, and you could see for a while. Once you get up on top of hills and stuff, you could see out in the fields how dense and thick it all gets. So
Yeah.
flying over, I understand 100% why they would obviously miss him.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a couple comments, people, oh, I live in San Angelo. I've been out there. That area is flat. It's flat where you're looking.
Yeah.
Go out there and put boots on the ground.
Yeah.
That land ain't all flat.
Oh no, I could tell you that just from the time I've been there. And I even said that in the video. I was like, it's very easy to see how somebody could just end up disappearing and you wouldn't be able to find where they are hiding.
I'm sure you saw some of those cactus bushes. You could conceal a car in there.
Yeah. And down here in South Dakota, we don't have cactus like that. We have a little bit different. I mean, we have the Black Hills, which is very dense forest and stuff like that. But yeah, like the terrain down there is very easy to see how flying over a field, you wouldn't be able to even really see hardly anything.
Yeah.
So many places.
There are some parts of it that are clear and flat land, but there's parts of it, man, if you're off in there, they'll never see you from the air. Yeah. You'd have to be just waving your arms. Hey, I'm right here, for them to see you.
Right. No. I kind of want to ask, but I don't want to intrude. What do you think happened that night? Do you have a theory?
I kind of keep that close to the chest. I mean, people are going to make up their own mind anyway, really.
They are.
The best advice I could give is let's wait and see what the police release.
Absolutely. On that note, and again, I know this is an active case. I know that I cannot get all the information that you have, and that's 100% understandable. Has it been confirmed that the remains that were found are Brandon? And if you cannot answer that at this time, it's totally understandable.
No, it has not been confirmed, and the reason for that is the DNA analysis is not complete. I know a lot of things. I've seen a lot of the comments online. What's taking so long? There's a lot of factors that can go into why DNA analysis takes a while. I've seen comments. Well, they had this person's analysis done in two months. Why? Again, there's a myriad of factors that can come into play. The type of investigation being done, how long the remains were sitting out, what type of elements the remains were exposed to, all that can come into play as far as, how difficult it can be to extract DNA from remains. I'm not saying that's necessarily specific to this case. That's just in general. So, I know everybody wants to know. Trust me, nobody wants to know more than the family and law enforcement at this point.
Absolutely.
So as much as it sucks, you just got to be patient.
Absolutely. And for anybody reading or watching this or listening to this, it's just don't jump to conclusions. Don't expect everything to come out all at once, because it's just not how it works. Especially in a case where he went missing in 2013, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff that's going to be missing, and it's just going to take some time.
Right.
Now, I listened to another interview with you recently that you went to school with Brandon.
Correct.
He said in the interview I listened to, you said that he stood up for you a couple times whenever older classmen were picking on you.
Yeah, we've
all been there.
Goofy, awkward-looking teenager, man. puberty's a B word. What can I tell you?
Absolutely. What, in your opinion, like, obviously, I just want to know how, like, he was a good guy.
Absolutely. Give you the shirt off his back to help you out.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like in
Yeah.
the time that you guys went to school, and even, the friendship you guys had, it sounds like he was just one of those people that just got along with everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
everybody has their enemies.
from when I was around him, and again, I was not like his best buddy. I didn't hang out with him.
Nope.
And I want to be respectful to the people that did have that relationship with them.
Right. Absolutely.
But I mean, from when I did see him, did interact with him, that's how he was. Yeah.
That's awesome. I like the idea of, at a time like that, whenever everything was still, we were all younger, and because I've had friends like that I've lost that I have memories of that, maybe I wasn't their best friend, but I was definitely their friend. And now that they're gone, you cherish that time with those people.
Yeah. You respect the people that help you out along the way, and try to return that respect when you can. And that's really how my journey in this started was, he went missing. I knew he had showed me that respect those couple of times, and I wanted to do the same, for him by helping his family find him.
Absolutely. And when did you start looking? Like, it looks like a year, because I know he went missing 2013.
Well, this whole thing kind of started for me by just, it was probably within a week or so of him going missing. I just messaged Odessa and said, hey, if there's a private search party, I went to high school with you guys. I've got no problem helping you out. I mean, if you need somebody to come down there and help out with a search, let me know. And, it kind of grew from there. I just started sharing his flyer on social media, and I noticed every time I did, there would be a lot of questions come up, and I wanted to try to be able to answer some of those questions. So I actually began trying to look into the case, how I could, just being, a private citizen. I'm not a private investigator. I'm not a detective.
No.
So it really kind of grew from there. It went from, just sharing that flyer to gathering as much facts as I could. Probably somewhere around, I went down to the area, I believe, for the first time in 2017.
Okay.
From there, it went from, okay, I've seen the scene now. I need to learn more. In 2019, I reached out to a private investigator that had worked on a very high profile case in Vermont. He's actually a retired police chief.
Okay.
And I gave him everything that I had learned so far. And I said, look, based on everything I've got so far, I think this guy is most likely somewhere still in the area of where the truck was found. And there's just, the terrain sucks so bad. He was either missed or he's in an area that hasn't been searched yet. Based off the information I'm giving you, what's your opinion? And he came back within a couple of weeks and he said, I agree. I think he's most likely somewhere still out there. And so then we began kind of collaborating together as far as, okay, what's the next step? Well, let's try to actively search for him while at the same time continuing to gather information. And that's what we did. It started as drone searches.
Yeah.
In 2020. And from there on out, some of the landowners were like, well, you just come in and foot search it if you want. So we began foot searching. And, lo and behold, probably 3 years later, after begin actively searching for him, we got on the right property and we were able to find evidence.
I'd like to point out once again that the people, like, in the comment sections, they have in their own mind that for some reason the landowners refused to let anybody on there. And like we said, that's just not the case. They were nowhere near the area. Like, they didn't have any idea this person went missing. So like I said, I just want to point that out again because I'm sure it'll come up. Somebody will say something.
Yeah, that keeps. I do understand why they're getting it confused.
Yes.
Because in the beginning, there were some landowners in the area that refused private property searches or searches by private citizens. I'm sorry. This particular landowner was not among them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, these people don't live on the property. There's no structures on the property. They simply own the property to go hunting on, and they don't even go to it that often.
And
so,
once they found out about the whole case, they were like,
yes.
absolutely, get on there. Go
What
ahead.
happened was I identified who they were. I sent them a letter in the mail. I sent them, who I was, what I was doing. I sent them a map of where Brandon's truck was in relation to where their property is. And, hey, look, this is why I think your property is a good property to search. Probably within a week or so after sending that letter out, the guy called me and he said, yeah, absolutely. You're more than welcome to search it. We want to do what we can to give this family closure.
Absolutely.
There was no hesitation at all. He immediately gave permission, and I've been in contact with him a couple of times since then, and he's just as nice to me as he was the day I first talked to him.
That's awesome.
If they need to come back out or whatever, they're welcome to do that. So this landowner has been nothing but open and gracious and kind and understanding.
I'm not too familiar with the wildlife in the area. I do know you guys have rattlesnakes, I assume, because we have rattlesnakes, and I know how terrifying that is. I just about stepped on a rattlesnake when I was in high school and a teenager in high school, and they are very fast. They're very vicious. Not sure about any other little critters or anything like that.
Wild hogs.
Wild hogs. Okay.
Yes, they are prevalent in the area. They are in the area. I have come across several skeletal remains of hogs out there. Those are they're like any other animal. Their first instinct is to retreat. However, if they feel threatened or cornered, they will attack.
Yeah.
And being on the opposite end of a wild boar attack is not a good place to be.
Oh my God, I bet not. No. That's another thing people often forget of this situation is there's more things out there than just like people. And that's like the big one that people believe happened is that he was chased into that area. And they I'm not allowed to say any of that. It's fine.
No. I mean, I know that theory has been put out there, and I don't look at things so much from a perspective as is this possible, because anything is possible.
Yeah.
I look at it more from the standpoint of how likely is it based on the evidence that you have. So, I mean, that's just how I look at it. You've seen the area yourself.
Yes.
For people to go running around out there in the pitch black, I'll ask you the question and you can form your own opinion. Since you've seen it,
yes.
How easy do you think it's going to be for a bunch of people to go running around out there in the pitch black?
Not very easily, and especially to be able to try and find somebody in the darkness like that. Good luck. I don't think that's a thing. Now I do know in the phone call he did say I just pulled some guys over. I got one guy, but you can't really understand what he says. Clearly, you can. It's a very at times the call is clear. Sometimes you don't quite understand what he's saying. He did say he pulled some guys over, and I don't know if you're allowed to talk about any of this or if you know anything. Has anything come forward about possibly anybody stopping besides the semi drive again?
Well, again, the semi truck driver didn't even stop. He just passed by.
He went by. He was actually, if I remember correctly in the research I did, he had to stop at that gas station to unload freight.
No, he was getting fuel.
Fuel. That's what it was. And then while he was in there, he just mentioned hey, there's some vehicle, a truck parked haphazardly in the road. And they're like, oh, you want to call the cops? And then that's whenever he called the cops.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. you got to remember, you're dealing with a very small town, population of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody kind of looks out for each other. So, I mean, the store clerk telling the truck driver, hey, you might want to let the local sheriff's department know what's out there so nobody else comes around that corner and smacks into the back of it. That's not usual to me. Yeah. I've seen that speculated. Why would somebody tell somebody to do that? It's hometown people looking out for hometown people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that I grew up in a town when I was in high school, 595 people. And that could have been including the dogs for all I know, because I don't remember that many people being there. But we it's one of those things it's a community.
Right.
So,
I mean, you've been through, you've been through there. Broad's one of those towns where if you're traveling 75 miles an hour up that highway and you blink, you've missed the town.
Yeah. And that's another thing that kind of threw me off here, because in South Dakota, highway speeds are 65 and interstate is 80, but it just got changed to 80 just recently. So going down there, and that highway being like 75 mile an hour, I was like, wow, people are just zooming through here.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I could understand 100% why, hey, get that guy off the road.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have questions, but I don't want to ask too many dry things.
I'll answer what I can. I'll put it to you like that.
And I don't want to pry. And then how many, I'll try and ease into this question.
Sure.
Because out of respect for you, and I do know you were friends with him, not best friends, obviously. I've had friends like that. But how many people were on the search party that found what could possibly be?
Oh, I can answer that for you. That's not a problem. There were 10 people.
10 people.
Including myself.
Okay. Now, my follow-up question, and this might be a sensitive one, just because, were you the one who found possibly his remains?
No.
Okay.
None of my search party found human remains. This is how this played out.
Yeah.
We found shoes and shorts. We notified law enforcement. Law enforcement came out, collected everything, and then said, okay. By the time we had found everything and law enforcement got out there, it was late into the afternoon. This is January, so the sun here, you're in Central Time too.
Yeah.
The sun really starts to set about 5:36.
Yep.
I think we contacted law enforcement around 3:30, 3:45. So it was already late into the afternoon. By the time they got out there, it was starting to get dark, so you couldn't really do any more searching. And they wanted to come back out, obviously, with a professional search team and really give the property a good searching. And that took them a few days to really kind of get the teams, because you're calling in people from all over the state.
Yeah.
And if they're already working on something, they have to say, okay, well, yeah, we can get out there, but we can't get out there till, next Wednesday or whatever. So it took them some time to get everybody ready. And then they went out and found the remains.
Okay,
in the same general areas where we found the clothing.
That night had to have been like a no sleep kind of night, I'd imagine.
Let's see. I left the house to go down there for that search probably at about 6 a.m. I got back to my house at 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I went to sleep. I don't know how, but I don't know if it's because I was so tired from.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
But that next day, that's all I could think about.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could only imagine that it was also like a relief to find something, and at the same time, very upsetting.
Yeah. Have you ever had a moment in time where you're so in the moment that things seem to just slow down?
Yeah.
This was the exact opposite, man. Everything just started speeding up.
Oh my God.
I don't remember much about the drive home. I remember driving home, but I don't. When we got done and we left the property and we obviously I contacted the family. We all went to eat. I don't really remember a lot about eating supper. We all went to a restaurant down in San Angelo, and I remember I don't even remember getting the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a wild thing to experience.
I got to say, I am very happy to get the answer that something was found at that point. Obviously, there's a million other questions. We'll never, in my opinion, be able to answer every single question because there's a million questions.
No, I don't think you'll ever be able to answer all of them.
No, there's always going to be some kind of unsolved questions here. But
yeah, that comes with a lot of cases.
It does. I do want to.
But the important thing is the family has, something now. That's the big important key.
Exactly. And I feel like to everybody out there who went out searching the U10 and everybody beyond that, because it wasn't just, it's been going on since 2013. There's been a lot of people searching, I'm sure.
Right.
I'd like to say thank you from my own mind, because like I said, this has been in my head ever since I heard the situation. And I don't know, like sometimes you hear one that just sticks in your head and it lives in there.
Yep.
So I wanted to cover it, and then I did cover the story on my channel. Like less than a year later, remains, and I'm like, oh my God, this is something.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of other cases that are probably like this. The person is probably near the area and it just hasn't been found yet. I know a lot of people, I see a lot of comments, how did they miss this? Look, this can happen, it's unfortunate. It's sad, but it happens all the time. And it's not necessarily anybody's fault per se.
No.
It's just, again, a wise man once said, sometimes you can do everything right and still lose. That's not a weakness, that's life.
That's true.
I hate that it took 8.5 years. But I mean, you can go back and forth on that all day in your mind, but
yep.
The important thing is 8 years later, he was found, something was found. That's the important part.
Absolutely. I want to thank you again for coming on here, just answering some questions. I know there's going to be a million more, and that's fine.
I'm happy to answer what I can.
My thing to anybody who is listening, if for somehow you do have information, anything like that, get a hold of is it Coke County?
You can contact Coke County, the Coke County Sheriff's Office. You can contact Crime Stoppers. You can contact the Texas Rangers. I think it's Company E that is in charge of the area around Berton. I can't say that the Texas Ranger that is working Brandon's case now, he's a good guy.
Good. That's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah. That's one thing, that has gone a lot better now.
That's good.
This guy's really good. I think he genuinely cares about the cases he works on. He wants to see them solved.
That is honestly great to hear. I do know.
Yeah, he's taken this very seriously.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, just amazing. With that,
go ahead.
Like I said, I just keep wanting to say thank you a million times over. Just
hey man, don't I didn't really do anything, man. I just went out there and did the best I could and learned a little bit along the way. This really comes from the good Lord, and I'm just the tool he used to do it.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Perfect. I think unless you have anything else to add, we'll probably end her there.
I'm good if you are. If you Got any other questions? Like I said, I'll answer what I can.
I can guarantee that whenever I finish this, I'm gonna be like, I should have asked him this. I should have asked him that.
Don't worry, man. I'm the same way. As soon as I hang up with people, I'm like, crap. People will ask me, you got anything? Not till you hang up the phone.
Yeah, right. And it's like, in my mind, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I should have asked him about this or that. And
right. It's all good, buddy.
I would eventually like to get back down there. I know that there's nothing more I could do, or no, I haven't even done anything, but nothing that I would be able to do. But
well, I know once this whole thing with the DNA is completed and is done, I think the family is going to plan some sort of gathering.
Oh, okay.
At least that's what Odessa has told me, is that they are going to plan something. I have not been back down to the area since that day. I just, I mean, with everything going on, obviously, you're waiting on DNA and stuff like that. I look forward to going back down to the area myself at some point.
Absolutely.
As soon as this is all done, I'm trying to stay out of the way until all that.
That's another thing. I did go down there. I would like to say that if anybody does go down there, don't be jumping no fences.
No, that's not
doing, like, that's the one thing I did in my video. I said, I'm going to stay right here. I'm not going to go, gallivanting off onto somebody's property and interfering with anything I'm not supposed to be. Where I was technically public property, from my understanding, which is
where you were was public property. Yeah.
And because I never
don't go hopping fences. That's not going to help anything.
Nope.
I'm not going to put that out there because some people will take it as a challenge. But
exactly.
Don't go hopping any fences. You're not gonna do anybody any good. You're not helping the case. All you're gonna do is irritate the landowners and irritate law enforcement. And they've already got to,
let them do their job.
Yeah, exactly.
Let them do their job. And that's, like I said, whenever I went down there, I said, this is where, as far as I'm going to go and searching, I just wanted to see the area for myself, because there's nothing wrong with, going down there and going to the cross and seeing that area. Yeah. Like I said, I've heard the story.
There's nothing wrong with paying your respects at all.
Exactly. That's pretty much all I wanted to do. Film the area, see, that way people get a better idea of the area, because a million people think it's flat and there's nothing there. Like you said.
I saw the video of you going down there. You did a good job.
Well, thank you. But if you do go down there, just do as I did. Just don't mess with anything. All right. Is there anything else you need to add, like you would think would be beneficial to add?
Just keep the Lawson family in your thoughts and prayers. Continue to appeal to the public for anybody that might have some information. Share flyers of other missing people. I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of missing people, not only in the state of Texas, but just in our country in general. And it's sad. You never know when sharing that flyer will put it in the hands of somebody that has information and doesn't realize it.
In fact, I think the first time when I first talked about Brandon, I scheduled the video to come out, and I think you were one of the people that was in the chat.
I was on the live chat. Yeah.
You were on the live chat, and I was like,
don't take this the wrong way, but I got on that live chat. I was like, man, I wonder what this guy's going to say.
What is this idiot going to put out on the internet?
No, I didn't automatically assume that. I just, there's a lot of content creators out there. They are good, and they do have the best intentions and the best heart. But I see a lot of them just go simply off of what they read online. And I can't help but go, man, why don't you guys reach out to the family and get some of this straight from the horse's mouth if they're willing to talk to you? Because the internet can twist a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. Like I said, I was listening to a million other podcast stories where it's just misinformation for days.
Oh Yeah. I try to catch just about everyone that comes out on Brandon, but some of them I'll get 5 minutes into and I'm banging my head on the table trying to cause unconsciousness for myself because I can't stand to listen to any more of it.
I'm going to take that as a compliment because
Yeah, I haven't knocked myself out yet. So
you haven't knocked
good.
yourself out, and you've agreed to go on the channel after seeing what I had said. So
Yeah. Hey man, you can usually tell when someone's really trying to do the right thing. So yeah, I figured you were trying to do the right thing.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I like I said, you see it all the time, misinformation, people trying to do something for clout.
Yeah, that happens, buddy. Just some people are only into this to make a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
Was there anything else I can do for you? Any other cases you want to discuss? I love talking true crime, man. I could do it all day.
Since you asked, sorry, that's a hard one. Mouth a little dry. Give me a second.
Good. I understand. Hey, got to do the same thing myself.
Down here in South Dakota, over in Wessington Springs, it's literally 45-minute drive from here.
Mm-hmm.
Eugene Prince. Have you ever heard of this case?
I have not.
Okay. There's a bunch of information out there, but basically he and a friend went. They had a day. They jumped in the truck. They went and dropped a log splitter off at Forestburg, which is not very far from Wessington Springs, 20 miles or so. They went to a bar. They had a few drinks. They went to a friend's house. Eugene had passed out in his friend's truck, from the story I've heard. And then his friend went into their other friend's house for 20 minutes, came out, Eugene was gone.
Wow.
They tracked his footprints as far as they could, and then they just kind of disappeared. I feel terrible for his mother because his mom is still very active. I don't think the cops are really looking for him anymore, but he's just gone.
Oh my goodness.
It's one of those, like, very much like Brandon. It's one of those cases that not only just because it's close to me, but it's just no idea where this guy went. And there are some shady things about possibly the person he was with, but like I said, I can't throw that speculation out there because I'm sure a million other people will. But there's just nothing. He's just gone.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I would have to really kind of see more into it.
Absolutely.
But, how long ago was this?
Oh, I don't want to say 2000. It wasn't that long ago. 2000. God. It was after. Let me look it up real quick. You got a second?
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm actually holding down the fort by myself, and I'm not doing anything important. So,
well, awesome.
I mean, I'm good.
Let me find this real quick. So he must have went missing in 2020. Yep, just 3 years ago. It's very recent. I can send you a link possibly through our messenger or whatever.
Yeah. Shoot me a link.
That way,
I'm happy to take a look.
I know that his mom and his family is still looking for him. I'm not so sure if what law enforcement's on it or if it's become a cold case.
Yeah.
But it's one of those situations where even after he went missing, his friend just kind of like, oh, well, he must have headed out somewhere. Jumped in South Dakota is one of those places kind of like Texas where there's just, it's not a heavily populated area that we live in. So whenever he went missing, it had to have been like one of those situations where either he got lost, got hurt, or something happened to him kind of deal. It wasn't like he jumped in a vehicle with somebody else and they headed out.
Yeah. But I think why hadn't he made contact with anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, like I said, I'll have to read up on it and read a little bit more into it. But I would keep searching for sure. Keep searching that area.
I've wanted to reach out to the family and see if I could join in on searching. But
You
I
know, I
also,
would highly recommend it. You will learn a lot, man. You really will. You really will learn a whole lot from volunteering, and it will feel like such a reward to you, man. I've already started to help out in searching for another case down here in Texas. I've actually led the search team.
oh wow,
Yeah. But yeah, do it, man. I mean, if they're willing to let you come out there and help them, dude, jump all over it. You will you will have so much appreciation for, everything that goes into getting somebody found. One thing I would really recommend, and I recommend this to everybody that I interview with, because I know your listening audience is listening, man. Study the field of investigations a little bit.
Oh,
I mean, we all see the comments on Reddit, Web Sleuths, and just online. Why is law enforcement doing this and not doing that? How
right.
come they haven't arrested this person? If you study how criminal law in our country works and how to interpret evidence, you will really understand a lot. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert by any means, but like, I'll give you an example, dude. I just went down to my local half-price bookstore in town and just went to the true crime section and bought a couple of books. Like, I bought textbooks that you would see somebody carry into college on criminal investigations, and just soak up the knowledge that's in those books, man. Grab
That's awesome.
you a book on, criminal evidence, and it's matter of fact, hold on a second.
Yep.
I keep it up here on my mantle. But this is one of the books I bought. Criminal evidence.
Okay.
Yeah, it basically just, it's a textbook pretty much.
What was the name of the author on that one?
Judy Hales, Hails. And then another book I bought, which actually helped me out quite a bit, not so much just in missing persons, but just investigations in general. And I picked this up online as Introduction into Private Investigations.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. I'm gonna get that.
The first one I
guide.
showed you might be a little bit harder to find than this one. This one, I ordered this one off I don't know, Amazon or something, but you can find this one pretty well.
The first one, I think I just found on a thrift book website. Can I see the cover of that one more time? Because I think it's the exact same one. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I would recommend this for you as a content creator and for your listening audience, because there's, again, I think if a lot of people studied the field on how things work, there would be a lot more understanding with things. And, I don't throw law enforcement under the bus. I mean, that doesn't mean I agree with everything.
Right. No, everybody shouldn't agree with everything all the time, or shouldn't disagree with everything all the time.
But it kind of goes back to that old saying, don't judge somebody till you've walked in their shoes.
Yeah.
And live their life. I mean, study this. It'll show you, a little bit about walking in a police officer or an investigator's shoes.
I'm going to pick it up. I got it right here, so I'm just going to buy it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet, man. You bet. You wouldn't be surprised how many times I was reading that one. Oh, so that's why they do things that way.
Okay. That's going to put my mind at ease. If I can read something like that, that'll help me understand.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else, you guys have a million questions on why cop procedure is a certain way, then I will look into that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that book will teach you a lot about why they do that. Do things the way they do, man.
I absolutely love whenever somebody will check this book out, because it'll help, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to, because what else have I got to lose? Might as well read on it.
I think if you're going to follow true crime content, that should be like a kind of like a true crime fan 101 type of deal, is looking into why the procedures are the way they are. I think there'd be a lot more understanding in the community, not just from an investigative perspective, but like how to interpret evidence and stuff like that. I have another book somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it's a lot about, taking a look at evidence,
Yeah.
understanding what it most likely means, and then forming a conclusion based off that. And that helps a lot, man. It really does.
That
And I could talk all, like I said, I could talk all day about this stuff. I love this stuff.
No, I understand that.
I have a passion for. I'm not a private investigator. Maybe one day I will be. We'll see. I don't know what the future holds. If the good Lord puts it on my heart to do that, then I'll go down that path. But really, I'm really happy with the way things are going for me now. Just continuing to help go out there and search for these people.
That's awesome. And honestly, I think you would be a great private investigator.
I appreciate that
because you are very passionate for it.
Yeah,
like you said, you could tell when somebody's passionate for something, and you could tell whenever somebody's full of crap, basically. And that's one of the reasons I reached out to you, is because I could tell.
Yeah.
Hey, from everything that you have passion.
It goes back to that old saying: if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Right. That, and like, I could see the reward, the rewarding part of what you do, because you are making a difference.
All it takes is one man to make a difference.
Exactly.
It's best to surround yourself with a group of like-minded people who can support you.
Yep.
And with that being said, it's best to work with those people as a team sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
If you get a chance, I'm going to recommend a case to you. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. Jason Landry.
Jason Landry. The name sounds familiar.
Have you ever heard of the Moran Murray case? I'd be shocked if you hadn't heard of Moran Murray's case, because it's one of the most popular there is. But
it sounds very familiar.
she's the young lady that crashed her car up in New Hampshire and went missing, and she was like, it was like one of the first cases of the digital age.
Yep.
Jason's case is very similar to hers.
Where did he go missing? It looks like
Caldwell County, Luling, Texas.
Yep, Texas. Same. Okay, perfect. I have not looked into this.
Take a look at this. It's a pretty crazy one, man.
I'm probably gonna be one of the ones I binge and just read and do all kinds of research on. I could tell right now just by looking at the small.
Do you subscribe to Amazon Prime?
Yep. Is there
Disappeared has done an episode on it, as has the TV show Never Seen Again. They're both on Amazon Prime. They have both. Matter of fact, I can if you watch TV later and you got nothing to do, check it out. I can give you the exact episode and season number and name of the episode. So if you or anybody in your listening audience wants to check that out, they sure can. Okay, so Disappeared, the episode featuring Jason Landry is season 10, episode 4.
Perfect.
Yep, the title of that episode is called The Long Drive Home. Again, that's the TV show Disappeared, season 10, episode 4.
Season 10,
episode 4.
I have that all saved, so I can tell you one thing. Whenever I'm not doing stuff like this, and I am watching TV, I think my family kind of gets annoyed with me, because this is all I watch.
Been there, done that. My wife calls it my old man shows.
Yeah. And honestly, it's either your old man shows. I get that because my kids will tell me that.
Yeah, that my kids do too. Daddy's watching his old man shows.
I like watching horror movies with the family because I like jump scaring people. And then whenever it comes to documentaries, missing cases, just people disappearances, who doesn't indulge in Bigfoot society, stuff every once in a while. But yeah, I think I get my family pretty annoyed at me because can we watch something else, please?
Let let me know when you go, when you quit recording. I'll
Okay.
ask you a couple of questions.
Sure. And actually, we could probably do that now.
Sure. That way
Again.
we're off the record.
If you guys, haven't already looked into Brandon Lawson's case, do it. If you have anything that you guys want to ask, leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next one.